All right, this is Egyptian Tombs by Aubrey Hill. First and foremost, I thought that it would be important to kind of clarify why the tombs were so precious to the Egyptian culture. And that started with a little bit of digging and research into Egyptian afterlife. So the Egyptians believed that in an afterlife called the Duat, which was translated to underworld or afterlife. My perception of it is that this Duat, if I'm pronouncing that correct, was kind of the journey from death to heaven. So there's like a journey in between where they are faced with a series of trials. And in these trials, they cross desert plains. They face guardians that they have to battle. They encounter animals. They have to defend themselves. And then the final one being the weighing of the heart, where I my perception of it is that they are basically judged to see if they are a good person or not. And at that point, it would be like, ding, ding, ding. Yes, you get to go to heaven, or you get to go down to the other place. But anyways, during this process, deceased are able to use and take what is buried with them to assist them along this journey. And I thought that's why it was so important to emphasize the afterlife. And they want to make it to the field of reeds. And I'll go into that a little bit in just a minute. All right. First off, I wanted to kind of clarify what this mummification process started or entailed. So why it was so important to the Egyptians was because they felt as though if they preserved their body, it would be able to come with them to assist them in the afterlife. So it started around when the Egyptian era gained its popularity. And so mummification was performed by priest or priestess, and it was a little bit of a timely process. They would begin by taking all of their organs out, drying the organs out, putting it in a jar, and then putting it back in them. And then they would start kind of like the bodily mummification process, where they would be rubbed with salt on a day-to-day basis, which helped kind of dry their skin out, dried out whatever type of fluids were being secreted. And then that would happen for about 70 days, where then they would be wrapped with linens and salt and sand, with a little bit of resin to kind of be able to preserve that body-like structure. And after they finished this, they would have this opening of the mouth ceremony. And kind of what that ceremony represented for them was the ability to be able to speak and eat in that duat journey and in the afterlife. So that was a very important part of it. Okay, going on to items found within the tomb. So obviously each tomb differs in specifics, but I think overall items that you could expect to see in a tomb would be like food, weapons, a lot of statues of their servants, the Book of the Dead. Now, those are all things that I listed that would maybe that I perceive as would be helping them in that duat journey, kind of like that facing those challenges, what they would need to face those challenges in order to get to the end result of heaven. Now, also in conjunction with being buried with those things, they would be buried with the Book of the Dead. And I felt like that was maybe one of the most important things that they were buried with, just because it has all of the spells that he or she would be able to use in the afterlife as a defense mechanism. Now, they would also be buried with and I'll show some pictures as well, but just ludicrous amounts of gold and furniture, games, clothing, food, jewelry, tools, everything that they probably owned, kind of stuffed into this tomb, because that's what they would be able to carry if they made it to that heaven. That's what they would have. And so the servants would follow their master to this heaven that they had and worked, while the rich just kind of relaxed with their family and the gods, I guess. Now, I didn't necessarily know what to label this as, but this felt most appropriate. They were decorated with the spells that are in the Book of the Dead, and the good omens, as in what they would expect in the afterlife, are etched into the walls. So food, furniture, and other items decorate the walls. So everything that you could see as them having in the tomb would also be decorated on the walls, because if they lost it, I thought it was kind of like travel insurance in a way, that the pictures would become a reality in heaven. So not only if they lost it, they would have insurance that they would have all of the things in heaven. And then here is my works cited page. I loved learning about this, and I definitely felt like it fit the scope of this class, because we did spend a unit focusing on Egypt, and a lot of the Egyptian culture was encircled around death. So thank you.